Take a look at this marvel, guys. Supercharged Nitro Harley, but how does one get involved? How much does it cost? Let's find out. We got a lot of questions to answer. Throwback Jim McClure shirt. Very, very cool. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AMRA HDRA Jim McClure Nationals. There's a 1,000 pound, 1,000 horsepower Nitro Harley. You've seen them on this channel a bunch. But how does one get involved? It may be easier than you think, and it lies in two words: Pro Fuel. This is a Pro Fuel Harley. It's still a nitro burner, but it's got some noticeable differences. Number one, carburetor. Number two, high gear only. Doesn't cost quite as much. It's a great place to learn. It's a great way to get involved, and I'm telling you, these bikes, they're still crowd pleasers. They are so snappy. All right, well, not everybody, very few people can throw their leg over a top fuel Harley. So what's the way in? Well, my friend right here, Johnny Vickers of Hawaii Racing, is providing a golden opportunity with the Pro Fuel category. It's a stepping stone into top fuel. How did you get involved with this, and what are options for people that want to go racing?
Well, I mean, of course, being in the motorcycle drag racing business, you know, obviously the more customers you have, it's like any other business, the better off you are, right? The more money you make, the more you can do, you know. So we've sponsored classes for decades. You know, we're trying to keep the sport alive, keep people involved, and one of those ways is back probably in the early 2000s. You know, I kind of saw a need to be able to allow somebody the opportunity to see if they were capable, if they had the desire and they were capable of doing a pathway without having to go break the bank first and then decide, well, this ain't for me. So, you know, I got a hand out to George Bryce because we're friends, and I talked to him a good bit about his school, went to his school, and we discussed how he structured his deal. And so, you know, I decided I was going to try to do a school at some point in time, and then offer, because we build bikes, obviously turnkey stuff. We were going to offer people a package that was reliable and ready to go down the racetrack. All the R&D, the research, all that's already done. It's not something that somebody has to learn necessarily. They can just concentrate on their riding ability and learning the sport and all that, and the bike would be solid, you know. So that's really where kind of the Derringer came from. You know, everybody kind of thought I was crazy, and like, you can't do a nitro school, you know. And I'm like, well, why not? Well, the equipment won't handle it, and at that point in time, that was kind of true. So my friend Jerry Gordon in Canada and I got together, designed the first Derringers, and you know, here 22 years later, we're still building them, and they're still running, and a lot of them are running. So we built an engine that could take the environment of a school and a learning process. And then, so I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna do a school. And then everybody said, well, you can't do a nitro school. Why not? Why not now, you know? Well, you can't put anybody that has no experience on a nitro bike. It won't work. Well, that's not true. I can tell you, because Jeanette is one. She's a two-time NHRA champion. She had never drag raced in her life until she went through the school.
Wow.
So, you know, it did work. And actually, in 5 years, we did 2 schools a year for over 5 years. Some of the better students that I ever had never drag raced before. You know, Tracy Cott's brother is one of them. He won a championship the next year.
That's amazing.
You know, and never had rode a
That's amazing.
A Nitro Harley or a drag strip, ran a quarter mile on a motorcycle at all, ever. and he just took to it like a duck of water. So the program did work. We had like an 86% license rate of that school, over 100 people all the way around the world. So it was very successful and very good. And then we offered a bike, an entry-level bike that you could buy and go down the racetrack.
Sure.
So, and then, if you want to move up, which a lot of them have, Billy Jack's one of them, Rich Freeland's one of them, Thiel's one of them, there's a bunch more, but then you could pass this on to the next guy and move up a class. These bikes hold their resale very well. Very well. As far as I know right now, there's not a used fly racing Derringer powered Pro Fuel out there for sale anywhere.
It's amazing. Getting into the nuts and bolts of the motorcycle and how it's different from a top fuel bike. Much lighter, carbureted, high gear only. What are some of the other features that make it different?
Well, the class, just by rule, the engine is small. So 121 cubic inch max. It has to be carbureted, which as far as I know is about the only carbureted nitro vehicle in the world.
Which is not an easy combination
exactly,
to do with,
yeah,
right?
That's voodoo stuff, right?
That's right.
And then, it's limited to the tire, 11-inch tire, high gear only, and it's also a weight class. So it's 5.7 pounds per cubic inch weight. That has to be at the end of the run with the rider, bike and rider. So you got all those kind of things that separates it from Nitro Funny Bike or Top Fuel. The Nitro Funny Bike's a 13-inch tire, 150-inch motor. Top Fuel's no tire limit. Most everybody runs 14, and 200 cubic inch limit, and you can have a transmission. So there is some, and both of those classes are injected, which is quite a bit different from mechanical fuel injection. But the carburetor is really pretty simple, and it's a lot more forgiving because the fuel that goes to the motorcycle dependent on the air, unlike the injected bike, because it's pumped in. So throttle is really just a valve in an injected bike, where here the amount of fuel that gets to the motor is dependent on the amount of air that gets to the motor. So if you have to pedal it, or you're not so let's say attuned to the speeds and all, and you get out there and you're feathering that throttle or doing whatever, the carbureted bikes take it much better than the injected bikes do. So that that was a plus as well, and for this class, and so people can get into it fairly reasonable, and once you buy the bike, campaigning it is not very expensive. Used to, I'd go to the racetrack with 2 motors and enough parts to build another one to race one weekend. And then I didn't run any lap I didn't have to, just to be able to make it through the race. Now, nobody has a spare Derringer motor.
All right, so if somebody's out there in YouTube land, and by the way, this is great because this is the way to grow the sport. How do you get more people involved? If somebody wants to do this, what do you look for in terms of a skill set or a background? I know you said that people might surprise themselves and they think they can't do it, but they can. What do you look for in terms of skill set, and roughly about how much money are we talking that this is going to cost for somebody to get involved?
Well, I mean, it's a little higher now, of course, everything is, than what it was just a year or two ago. But a top of the line Pro Fueler now for me is about anywhere from 56 to 60,000, depending on the options and
what's less than half than a brand new Top Fuel motorcycle.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and it's ready to go down the racetrack, and it's very reliable, and like I say, spare parts and stuff is pretty much you just don't really have to have very many, and I carry a lot to the track. Anybody that needs anything, I pretty much got it here. So the cost of campaigning it has gone way down, so the maintenance is so little, and then and that allows you to make as many laps as you want or can, and that increases your seat time, shortens up your learning curve and all that. So and then these bikes are going $35,000-$40,000. They're 10 years old, a 10-year-old.
Sure, yeah, they hold their value. There's a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, why not? What's to lose there? You can have all that fun for $10,000 investment, in the whole big scheme of things.
Well, I know I heard Bobby Malloy say one time, and he is the quickest injected Top Fuel Harley racer out there. He's been 609. He said, how do you get started? He said, go get a Pro Fuel bike and wear it out. He said, make 100 laps, and that's how you'll get ultra comfortable.
Right, exactly. And Mary is coming into the sport there, and she bought one of the used Derringers, and I've been working with her some, and her and Tracy, and then Richard Boone, same thing. He came up from the gas class, and they're both doing really good, and you know, I don't let them get ahead of themselves. That's the thing, you know. It's don't jump on it and try to run 4 miles first time, because the bike's gonna be so far ahead of you, you ain't even gonna know where you are. When you come back and you tell me I was waiting for this, you know, if we go to the 8th mile, when you tell me, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for the 8th mile to show up, now we'll go further. You know, when you get to the end of the quarter and you say, I was just, you know, along for the ride waiting for the finish line to come, then we'll step you up, you know. So that's kind of the way we do it. You know, your mind kind of catch up with the speed and all, and when you do that, everything starts to slow down. So then you step them up, right? So I've seen people just jump on one and go out there and be way over their head, and it usually doesn't turn out well.
How much fun are they?
Oh, a lot of fun. I think you're talking about the cost.
I want to thank Johnny Vickers and all these racers for giving us inside access. Well, let's continue to take you deeper inside the sport and get you up to the starting line, because Pro Fuel eliminations are about to begin. Now, Sam White has a bye. That's because he earned it with the #1 qualifier position. There was an odd number of bikes, so it's a tune-up run, a chance to brush up for him on race day, and that is coveted. His lovely wife is ready to go. Johnny Vickers is ready to go. He's ready to prime this engine. Nice straight run for White. See how quick he can go. Looks like something might have come off the motorcycle. 750. Johnny, 750 on your bye run. How would you assess that pass?
Well, he two-stepped it right there, so that kind of messed everything up. So, good thing it was a bye.
What came off the bike? Was that?
I don't know. I saw something out there. I don't know what it is. You really ought to go look.
Gotta love those buys on race day. That's why they earned it, guys. We'll see what came off the bike.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know what he two-stepped it right there. That screwed everything up.
The hard-working crew here at Rockingham Dragway will go check out the track. Let's see if we can figure out what came off the motorcycle. Watch closely. Let's also ask Johnny a little bit more about this two-step. Johnny, when you say two-step, what do you mean? Explain that to the average.
Well, I mean, you know, the system that operates the fuel and the other bikes, the clutches, things like that, it starts when you actually start to run. So when the rider twists the throttle, it activates a switch usually, and that starts your timer system for all your controls. So if you prematurely hit that, like he did, and then catch yourself, it actually starts everything premature, and then he takes off. But because the system thinks he's already left, you know, so it activates the system before he actually leaves. So then when he leaves, the system's already been running, so everything's behind at that point, or he's behind everything else at that point.
Very interesting.
Best way to say that.
Well, nonetheless, you're going to the next round. That's all that matters. Gotta love the bye run.
Hey, look, we got a picture of Jack's back.
Is this the film review session?
Yeah, we're staying. They said something came off the bike.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on my video too.
I guess we'll have it here in just a minute.
Yep. Let me see that Superman shirt. Oh yeah, look at that. Looking like $1,000,000.
Run.
What are you looking for here, Johnny?
Well, I'm looking for a lot of things. One, tire spin, really, right? And then So I'm looking at the engine RPM where the bike leaves and how that's working. I'm checking my exhaust gas temperatures here. One thing we're having a problem with is right here. This is up on the big end. That Sam's having trouble keeping the throttle wide open. So I mean, this is 5.3 seconds. You know, we went 740. So that's a long time to not be wide open. And what he's saying that it's charging pretty hard up there. That bike runs good out the back door. So he said that it's vibrating and the grip's actually slipping in his hand. So up there, and that's what's he can't keep it pinned. And that's wide open throttle switch. So he pegs it here and he stays on it, but when he gets way up here, he said he's having a little trouble. So we're gonna make some adjustments for that today, and we'll come back and look at that.
Johnny's going to try to make some adjustments. In the meantime, let's get you back trackside for the continuation of Pro Fuel eliminations. Here comes Bad Apple Mary. It is a total team effort in this sport. L Miles in the other lane, looking for a big upset. Mary out in front, Mary holding her lead. Guys, she's been doing this for less than a year, and Mary is victorious. Mary wins again. Girl power, how about it? Gotta love it. Girl power, not just about the guys out here. Girl power, Mary takes the win, 740. She's developing quite a female fan base. Here comes the man from Louisiana, Rocky Rockstone Jackson. He'll be taking on the road rage machine of Paul Anderson. Big matchup here. We're locked at 330. Locked at the 8th. Anderson pulling away. Top end of the racetrack. Win light going to Anderson. Great drag race, a 756 takes out a 772. Road rage left lane. They're going on to the next round.
Everybody's mind, because we're gonna come out. I'm telling you about it when we get the thing put back together.
I'm cracking up because I just asked you, can I see your spare motor? You say you don't have one?
No, we don't have one.
Because
nobody does. You don't need it.
Did we mention this is a little bit more affordable than Top Fuel Harley? Wow. So never even for peace of mind, you don't need one. If something happens,
nope,
you can pretty much repair it. What's the worst situation you can get into with one of these?
Well, I mean, you can damage them hard enough where you can't fix it at the racetrack. But I'm telling you, that's probably happened twice in the last 20 years.
Twice in 20 years. That happens in Top Fuel all the time.
All the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Exactly. But I mean,
we got Michael Beeland over there. He can't race today because of his transmission.
Yeah.
And he's got to send it to California.
I hate transmission. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Step up. It's 2022. Get rid of the transmission. Just tell me.
How is high gear only different in a nutshell?
Well, it's one, from my standpoint, being a tuner and a builder, it's actually easier to fabricate the motorcycle. It's more reliable, but obviously from what you just mentioned. The other thing is the tuning. You're tuning a constant curve, where with transmission bike you shift. When you do, everything changes at that point. Engine RPM drops, fuel pressure drops, load on the motor changes, all those things. So it complicates the tuning process. And back in the day, when we didn't have the quality motors we have now, the big motors, the good fuel systems, the good clutch management systems, right? Transmission with a clutch for that. But now you don't need to get rid of it. Put high gear on it and go race.
That's really
You'll be 50 pounds lighter, and you'll probably be $10,000 in your pocket, you know, that you don't have to spend on transmission. Plus, they're a maintenance nightmare.
That's right.
They are. Get
That's
rid
right.
of them. And you reduce the rotating weight mass by, you know, probably 150 pounds. So it just doesn't make any sense.
All right, so John, I got to ask you this. We talked about this being a stepping stone and a segue, but you see guys like Sam White Lightning that are very talented, and they like this class. They want to stay there. It's a crowd pleaser. It's entertaining. So it doesn't always have to be a step up, right? This could be a destination for many.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, you know, back 20 years ago or so, the pro fuel bikes now are fast as top fuel was. You know, I mean, low sevens, right? So, and these things will run this all day long. And because of the weight, the bike is so much lighter, smaller. You're doing those speeds and stuff. It's an exhilarating ride. I'm just here to tell you that. I mean, you know, just because you can compare it to the top fuel, but that's a faster bike, but it's a bigger bike, right? This pro fuel is much smaller, but it's, you know, we're
About half the weight is what we're dealing with?
close.
Close.
Some bikes, yeah, it would be
Okay.
half the weight. You know,
Half the weight. How
Yeah.
about horsepower? What are we dealing with?
Oh well, you're dealing with 400,
400,
425 here versus 1,000.
1,000 there, okay.
So, you know, so it is a little less, and that's why you see, you know, the difference in the time. The times really are only, you know, they're not even a second apart.
Mm-hmm.
So what's top fuel here today? 630.
630s, yeah.
Okay, we're 740. I mean, we should be faster than that. But
Right.
but so you know, you're looking at that difference in the two bikes for another $100,000.
That's right. Well, that's
So-
why it's a very attractive place to start. So guys, get your sponsor, get whatever budget you need to get ready, and then contact this man and go to his school. What's the best way for people to reach out to you and get a hold
Just
of you?
either through the website, you know, by email, or just call the shop or whatever.
Excellent.
You know, I mean, the thing about the good thing about the Pro Fuel class, one, is always good. From a, you know, I try to look at things from a spectator standpoint. So if I'm sitting in the stand and I'm watching these bikes, yeah, top fuel bikes are cool and all that stuff, but a lot of times they don't make a good side by side pulls all the time. Pro bikes are usually always a Pro Fuel but so they always, and it's very competitive, very close racing, and they pretty much always go down the racetrack. So from a spectator point of view, it's great racing, you know, and from a rider, it's point of view, it's great racing, because a lot of times you look over, that guy's right there, you know, and y'all going down the track, and that's pretty cool.
I've always loved your class. I gotta say, in the last couple of years, I've become even a bigger fan because we start going to some of these races at smaller tracks that don't have the prep, don't have the shutdown, right? You probably couldn't run a top fuel Harley there. But you guys show up, it's still nitro, it's still crowd pleasing, the fans love it, and it's amazing to me, the show that you can put on when you get 6 or 7 of these pro fuels together.
Oh yeah. Like I say, they're just reliable and don't hurt a lot of parts, and they typically always go down the racetrack. You know, so you don't overpower the racetrack all the time. You know, so that it does. It makes for a great show.
And finally, your resume. How many times did you win the championship?
5 times.
Five
I'm
times.
5 times. Yeah.
And when did you step off the motorcycle?
About 3 years ago now, I guess. Yeah. Probably
How old are you now?
I'll be 70 next month.
God bless you. All right. So we got a few guys like Paul Gast and other guys out there in their 70s. Any desire to get back on and have a little fun?
Yeah, probably at some point. I mean, we still got both Terminator bikes here, so some point in time, me and Sam probably just go have some fun, you know, and fly up against each other.
Is Terminator 1 for sale or is it a keeper?
Oh, it's a keeper.
It's a keeper. Sorry about that, guys. All right, if you want a motorcycle, though, get a hold of this guy. Let's get you back trackside. We got a huge round number 2 coming up in the Pro Fuel category. Let's see if these adjustments paid off. This class is oh so tough. Sam White getting ready for a showdown with the red hot Paul Road Rage Anderson. Round number 2 about ready to begin. back from Johnny. Sam ready to go. This is going to be an epic showdown. What a race, locked bar to bar. Anderson brought his A game. White trying to get around him. Top end, win light Anderson. Razor close, right side gets the win, a 7:48. Man, talking about some tight racing. Sam White Lightning just misses it by inches. Congratulations, Team Road Rage, going on to the final round.
So, you know, just looking at what the data's telling me here, and of course, obviously, that's losing time, right? So, I mean, it still went 171 there, but it should be 175, 176, easy. So, you know, and there's a few other adjustments we made in the clutch because it wasn't quite right either. But we hadn't run that bike since, he hadn't run that bike since Sturgis.
Let's take another look at this epic showdown. I would say since being off the bike since Sturgis, Sam did a great job, but it's an unexpected and rare early exit for him. But look at this race. These motorcycles absolutely locked. This speaks to just how competitive this category is. Bravo, gentlemen. Let's check back in with Johnny. I got to get your opinion on the only thing I've heard a very select few critics say, and they said, if you're going to go top fuel racing, you can develop bad habits on a pro fuel bike. How would you respond to that one? Do you think that's true, or do you think that's incorrect?
I think that's, I'm just going to be nice, incorrect.
Incorrect, okay. Yeah. Why do you think somebody says that?
What would be bad?
I guess maybe they compare the heavier bike and the way that you have to steer it with the big tire to be something that's a lot different than a pro fuel bike. Do you feel like a rider could develop a bad habit on a pro fuel bike, or is that experience is just going to be positive?
No, you got to steer these bikes the same.
Similar.
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah. So now the setup style bike is much easier to ride. You ask anybody that's got one or ridden one, and they'll tell you that. That's a fact. So my opinion is, top fuel guys are doing it wrong, and we'll see what happens next year about that. So, got a plan.
There you go. What a cliffhanger. Sounds like Johnny's got something up his sleeve. Stick here for all the latest. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please check out all of our other videos, and thank you, Johnny Vickers. Johnny, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. That is pro fuel. What an exciting category.